What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. So once again, in honor of Black History Month, I wanted to talk about a character who doesn't get a lot of love in the comic book community. I feel like people only really remember him when he's brought up, and I wanted to talk about him today, and that is Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific. But before we get started, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click. Mr. Terrific is a character who made his first appearance in Spectre Volume 3, number 54 back in 1997, and he was created by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake. Mr. Terrific has a pretty tragic origin, even by superhero standards. After an argument with his wife about religion being pointless, his wife, who was pregnant at the time, has a fatal car accident. Blaming himself for her death because he feels his argument with her not only delayed her to the point of having the accident, it's also that their last words weren't necessarily kind. Leaving him contemplating suicide during his grieving, he's confronted by the Spectre, who shows him the Golden Age hero, Terry Sloan, the original Mr. Terrific. Seeing their similarities and seeing Sloan's life and how he fought for justice, it inspired Michael to do the same. Thus, he becomes Mr. Terrific. Now, Mr. Terrific is a normal human, but if you asked him what his skill set was, he would simply tell you that he has a natural aptitude for having natural aptitudes. Mr. Terrific is a polymath, not unlike the original Mr. Terrific. In layman's terms, he's a Renaissance man, well-versed in a variety of trades and fields. The old saying, jack of all trades, master of none, doesn't apply to him. He studies it, he masters it. He can quickly learn complex skills and retain them. He's even been able to learn complicated surgery simply by reading a book and helping Dr. Midnight. He's kind of like the Taskmaster of the DC universe. The only difference is what he's able to learn quickly isn't just relegated to physical actions. Mr. Terrific's trademark is the T-Spear, a robotic construct that typically can be seen floating around him at any given point. These little spears can do a number of things, ranging from creating holograms and acting as communication devices to hacking computers and discharging energy blasts capable of knocking even Shazam on his ass. T-Spears can even be used as weapons themselves and can fly at high speeds and often tend to be used as projectiles. These handy-dandy little spears can even help Mr. Terrific fly by bearing his load weight. The black T on his face isn't just for show either. It's a mask woven with specially designed nanotechnology that is molecularly bonded to his face. It can appear and disappear whenever he wills it. This mask also renders him invisible to all forms of electronic detection, including security systems, synthetics, androids, tracking devices, and even the OMACs. The only exception to this rule is Red Tornado, who, yes, is an android, but technically he's an elemental living inside an android body, so he doesn't really count. His mask can also materialize and dematerialize Holt's own superhero threads instantaneously. It also allows him to communicate with his T-Spears as well as communicate with other people. Now, earlier I mentioned that he's a polymath. Well, he's also a polyglot. He is fluent in multiple languages as well as the languages of fictional nations like Kondak and Bialia. How many other languages he's fluent in has yet to be explored, but I can guarantee you his language count is probably in the dozens. Now, some of Mr. Terrific's accomplishments and other little interesting tidbits are he is a leader of the Terrific's own personal superhero team, and he's also a card-carrying member of the Justice League of America, the Justice Society of America, and Batman's Outsiders. The fair play lettering on his leather jacket is a throwback to the original recipe Mr. Terrific, Terry Sloan, an homage to Terry's mentality and legacy, and that he doesn't have to cheat to win. He is often referred to as the 3rd smartest man on the earth. So smart, in fact, he possesses 14 PhDs, 2 of which are in engineering and physics. He also has both doctorates and master's degrees in law, psychology, chemistry, political science, and mathematics. Mr. Terrific is also one of the 3 main superheroes with medical training in the DC universe, the others being Dr. Midnight and Batman. Considered to be one of the top 10 fighters in the DC universe, he holds black belts across 6 different martial arts disciplines. He is also a gold medal winning Olympic decathlete. Mr. Terrific has a friendly rivalry between himself and Batman, since both are considered to be the smartest men on Earth, but Batman has an ace in the hole against Michael Holt. He owns owns Holt's business, Cyberware. Speaking of cyberware, Michael Holt turned himself into a self-made multimillionaire. Now, he wouldn't be a decent comic book character if he hasn't died at least once. Having been stabbed to death by All-American Kid, who at the time was possessed by Kid Carnival, in Justice Society of America Volume 3, number 32, but was later resurrected by Dr. Fate. For a character in comic books, he has one of the more interesting stances on religion. An avid atheist, he's witnessed the death and rebirth of Hawkman. He's seen the Spectre, yet he has a very strong, borderline vehement lack of faith in any and all religion. He's been quoted as saying the only thing he has faith in is his team. As far as media appearances go, Mr. Terrific has actually made his fair share of rounds outside of comic books. He's name-dropped by Lois Lane in the Smallville episode Absolute Justice. He's also been on Justice League Unlimited off and on. Later in Season 3, he became more of a series regular after Martian Manhunter deuced out of active duty. He's voiced by Mr. Darnell, Michael Beach. He's also appeared on the criminally underrated animated series Justice League Action in the episode The Cube Root, and is hilariously voiced by Hannibal Buress. We get to see a parallel Earth version of Mr. Terrific in the DC animated film Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, where this iteration of him is Mr. Horrific. Another alternate universe version of Mr. Terrific appears in the DC animated movie Justice League Gods and Monsters and is voiced by Arif S. Kinchin. Unfortunately, he gets stretched by the Metal Men. #sad. As of this recording, Michael Holt will appear later this year in another DC animated film, Justice League versus the Fatal Five, where he'll be voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. And of course, as many of us may already know, a version of Mr. Terrific exists on the CW Arrowverse TV show, Arrow. Though this version is named Curtis Holt as opposed to Michael Holt, and is played by Echo Kellum. Now, some would say this is a watered-down version of the character, and I wouldn't disagree, though some people would say that it has to do with the fact that he's been made gay. I don't really have a problem with that. I just think he's more watered down in the sense that if a full-fledged version of Mr. Terrific was on the show Arrow, it would beg the question, why is this dude a subordinate to Green Arrow? Personally, I would have preferred him to be a rival to Arrow, since Oliver in the Arrowverse is more of a Batman analog than a Green Arrow adaptation, but neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is, the Mr. Terrific that appears on Arrow is every bit as smart and intelligent as the Mr. Terrific of the comics. He's just not as good a fighter, and not very sure of himself. And those are things that make Mr. Terrific Mr. Terrific. Now, aside from all that, he's also appeared in a couple of video games, namely Injustice Gods Among Us as a background character on the Watchtower level, and he's also a playable DLC character in LEGO DC Supervillains. One of the things I started doing with these videos is that I wanted to talk about some fan casting, like who would I cast to play Mr. Terrific in a TV show or movie. Now, granted, yes, we have Echo Kellum who plays him on the Arrowverse, but if I could have it my way, I would choose Trevante Rhodes, an actor known for his roles in Moonlight and Bird Box. I would love to see him play a version of Mr. Terrific in the DCEU or Worlds of DC, whatever the hell they call it now. And I would love to see him portrayed as the badass that he should be, a guy who can stand toe-to-toe with some of the best characters DC has to offer. And also, I think Trevante Rhodes could play that type of character who would be able to mentally spar and joust with a character like Batman. But anyways, let me know some things about Mr. Terrific that I left off. Sound off in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. And if you want to become one of Earth's mightiest patrons as well, swing on over by patreon.com/blerdwithoutfear. And if you chuck in a buck, you can get some exclusive content. And if you don't want to become one of Earth's mightiest patrons, that's fine too. Hey, all I ask is that you like this video and share it with your friends. And who knows, maybe they'll become some of Earth's mightiest subscribers too. Anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and while you're here, go ahead and check out some of these other videos I got floating around here. But until next time, Plus Ultra!